loves. All right, today is a really great topic. It's oppositional defiant disorder. Might not sound great, but we're gonna make it great. I have my cup, blessed, right? It's funny, I wanna show you this because I choose my cups on purpose. Do you wanna know a cup I never choose? That one, Hustle. That's too grabby and graspy, no way. Words matter, people. So oppositional defiant disorder, whether you've got a diagnosis, you know when your child's anger is at a level that seems irrational, illogical, and just downright upsetting the home all the time. Some kids will be angry both outside the home and inside the home. Some kids will only be angry outside the home. Some kids will be angry only inside the home. Doesn't matter. You will know when your child cannot handle their temper in the way that most kids can. Let's just go to the good news. I had a child who was so angry, and when I would talk to him about trying to help with his behavior and his anger, I tried every tactic you can think of. I read every book you can think of, and it seemed like nothing was helping me. Matthew would be angry in the household, but at school he would actually just shut down if something was frustrating him or bothering him. He had some difficulties in school. He certainly had some ADHD going on there, a lack of focus. So being with somebody in a small group, like the teacher with about 4 kids, was best for him at that time rather than large classroom. He could get overwhelmed. But as the years went on, it was just getting more and more difficult being with him in the house and being around him. I, though, was so busy with Charlie, and if you've ever had a child if you've got one child who's basically drowning, right? If you have another child who can kind of tread water, you're just like, just keep swimming, because you literally don't have enough of you to go around, and you gotta save the one that's drowning. But we had Matthew over here, who I never thought, let's change his diet, let's look at him the same way that I would look at Charlie, because he presented in a very different way. Charlie was exuberant, usually joyful, and crazy. Whereas Matthew was quieter, lack of focus, etc. But his anger, his fuse was really short. You just wouldn't have classified them as the same type of diagnosis. So if something like diet was working so much for Charlie, I was not thinking, let's do that for Matthew. So fast forward, we go along. Matthew is in 5th grade, Charlie is in 2nd grade. Matthew is getting angrier and angrier. Aside from that, and I just figured that was a personality trait. I knew something was wrong, but I just thought it was a really sad situation, personality trait, and his trajectory he's just gonna have no friends. I really was afraid of that. The other thing that was happening to Matthew that I thought was unconnected was all these ailments. He had really, really achy joints. He was like, oh, it's growing pains. And in my gut, I'm like, it doesn't feel like growing pains to me. I've had other kids. So he had growing pains, and he was often sick with colds and things like that. He was developing this twitch and this blink. He was a mess. For us, what came to a head at the end of 5th grade for him is we went on a trip to Disney, and I just loosened the reins. I said, guys, have whatever you want, and they did at this little resort. And I tell you that in 2 days, his siblings were like, get out of our room. You can't be in here with us. And listen, I wasn't looking for them to all be wonderful with each other, but they were seriously like, he needs to get out. So we just had him sleep on the couch during that week away. But this was beyond angry. This was to the point where you couldn't even say hello to him. It was like he was seething before anything was even said to him. It was taken to a level that I had never seen before. So we got home. I was really, really upset. I was really beside myself, like crying myself to sleep, going like, oh my God, what is this? And how do I help him? How do I help him? As clear as day, when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, the food. And I went right into research mode. And one of the things I did, I was trying to find research on oppositional defiant disorder and diet, because I had so much healing with Charlie. So let me see if I can find something for ODD and diet. But I really wasn't finding much. There wasn't major studies. ODD hasn't been around nearly, that term has not been around nearly as long as ADHD. And ADHD has been around for over 100 years. We just keep changing its name. But ODD, that's a newer one. Where can I find research then that's been done on angry individuals so that I can see if there's ever been studies using food or supplements to help change these individuals? And so I was trying to think, what would I look up? Well, I figured I can find a lot of angry men in prison. So I started researching prisons and juvenile delinquent centers and trying to find studies that were done with food or supplements in these environments and see what had come of it. Oh, well, let me just tell you this. 100% of the studies that I found showed significant, beyond significant changes positively when you change the food, when you remove the sugars. Some studies was just adding supplements. Just one quick little fun fact, one of the studies I was looking at was among juvenile delinquents in a center in California. So there was a hypothesis that these children in these juvenile delinquent centers were probably the result of poverty and lack of education. And there was a gentleman, and he actually took hair samples of all these children, and he found that their copper levels were through the roof. So what did he do? Gave them zinc, and he watched the change in these children, just transformative, right? Then he went a step further. He said, I want to test siblings that are not in these juvie centers. I want to test their siblings. And do that with 100% accuracy. They could ascertain which child's hair sample was from the child that was in the juvenile delinquent center versus which one was still living at home simply by the level of copper in their hair. Just saying. There were studies on male prisoners, and they would just change out their food, and they no longer allowed like sugar and certain preservatives. And these studies are all over the place. And one after the other, same results. Same results, people. The level of suicide was down more than 75%. The angry outbursts, again, through the floor. You cannot believe it. But yet, why shouldn't we believe it, right? So when I saw all that, I thought, okay, what do I got to lose? And so I put Matthew on Charlie's diet. Within a week, different child. Within a week. And it still took many weeks to make certain things go away, like this arm swirl that he had begun, and this blinking and some twitching. Joint pains went away. Everything just kept falling away and falling away and falling away. But there was still a tendency. There was still a tendency. Because listen, people, the brain is a powerful thing. It is so powerful, and we train it how to react to triggers and stimuli. So even though I pulled back on all those foods and Matthew was more likely to now be calmer, it didn't mean that he hadn't had a lot of work to go from a person who had been living for the first 12 years of his life saying, oh, that's not going my way. This is how I react. I get angry, or I shut down, or I say something mean. I still have to work with that. So that's where phase 3 of this correction comes in. Phase 1 is the diet, phase 2 was supplements, and phase 3 was parenting. Parenting. These kids honestly think that they are mean, that they are nasty, that they are uncontrollable, that they are jerks, because we tell them that, because that's how they were behaving. And so if we don't find in them moments when they are kind, when they are calm, when they are loving, respectful, caring, and call that out and let them connect their behavior, that good behavior, to something such as a core quality as kindness, then they don't ever see themselves as kind. Because you can take away the food that was hurting them. You can add the supplements that they were deficient in. But if you don't change the identity, the way that they see themselves, if you don't change that perspective for them, it's very hard for them to walk into this new identity of being kind and being caring and being focused and being organized and being awesome and being loving and being respectful. I mean, I can go on and on. So I want you to know, moms, that yep, ODD is real, oppositional defiant disorder. And I have a different child today. I just want you to know that what you see today, 150%, you have the ability to take control of. See, the anger, guys, is not the problem. The anger is a symptom of a problem. If I can do it, anybody can do it. You change that food, you add in those supplements. I would tell you to add magnesium glycinate, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, omegas, a powerful probiotic, What am I missing? If I'm missing something when I watch this back, I'm gonna put it right across the bottom of the screen so that you have it, okay? And then it's the parenting. And it's that parenting with honor, and it's all day long. You're so kind. I just noticed how you just brought the laundry up for me and I didn't even ask you, or maybe you did ask. Thank you so much for bringing that laundry up. I also noticed when we were together earlier, you made sure that Charlie did not go into those waves. I saw that. You are so kind and protective of him. Thank you. And I'm going to tell you something. When you start this and you start telling them things about them that are so great, they will roll their eyes at you. They won't believe you. They'll be like, where's my mom? Because she's going to just lose her crap on me later and tell me I'm nasty. So you can't give up. You are the one who is showing them who this new identity is. But if you give up on them, and they are waiting for you to give up on them, they are waiting for you to give up because they are now fighting something in their minds like, wait, I thought I was a jerk. She's telling me I'm kind and considerate. Who am I really? You need to keep telling them they are kind and considerate. They are respectful. They are loving. They are awesome to be around. And you can find the moments, moms. Find the moments before they later on fall apart. Find the moments ahead of time so that then when they're faced with a moment where somebody is causing them to react, they know that, well, wait a minute, I'm kind and I'm considerate and I'm respectful and I have self-control. Okay, I can handle this. So guys, it's a 3-part process. It's the diet, yeah. It's the supplements, yeah. It's that parenting. Each part is another 100%. If you do nothing else and you say, I'm not gonna change their diet, I'm not gonna change their supplements, that's your choice. But if you do nothing else, and you're gonna need to find all day long when they are acting just really kind, and you need to call that out. Don't give up, moms. Don't give up. You've been raising this child for so long. You know that what I'm telling you is ringing true. And you know that I am not the only person who has a child walk out of ODD. I am just telling you that it's almost so simple and it's so powerful that it's almost silly that we miss it. It's literally that silly that we're missing it. So you got this, mom. Don't you dare give up, and don't you dare think you've got some angry kid for the rest of her life. Okay? Love you.